Hey everybody, Fantical here, and I'm here to do a reaction video to 7 scary unsolved paranormal events. This is actually by the YouTube channel Chills, and judging by the thumbnail, that Hampton Town Court place thing with the ghost opening, like either opening or closing the fire doors to the building, might be in the video. But anyways, the link to the original video is in the description box down below. So you'll be able to check out this original video. That's on Chills' YouTube channel. So let's get to it, shall we? Okay, now let's roll the tape.
Chill. Number 7, Skeletor. The Hampton Court Palace in London is home to a well-known apparition named Skeletor, a genderless figure whose identity and intentions remain.
Fucking called it! I fucking called it! I freaking said that judging by the thumbnail, there's gonna be a fake video. Get a fucking video!
Unknown to this day. In 2003, security guards stormed the palace after their fire alarm system showed a major breach near the exhibit hall. Someone had flung open the fire doors, sounding the alarm.
I bet there's a lot of people thinking I'm crazy for doing that.
A review of the tape showed the doors opening by themselves. Only blackness filled the doorway, nothing else. The next day, the fire alarm went off again. It was at the same time as before, and at the exact same location, just outside of the exhibit hall. When the guards got there, however, they were surprised to find everything was in order. The fire doors were securely shut, and the search turned up nothing out of the ordinary. They reviewed the tape again, expecting to find nothing, but this time they were absolutely baffled by what they saw. On the tape, both of the fire doors burst open, and a pale figure wearing floor-length garments steps into view. The figure stands in the doorway for a moment, seemingly scanning the area, and then closes the doors one at a time. It is impossible to determine.
You know, I'm kind of torn about this because on one hand, I want to go to this. I do want to go to. I do actually want to go to the Hampton Court place, because I'll admit it's like a top of museum, and that's something that's one of my favorite things to do, and that is to go to like history museums, and this this place seems like it has that vibe about being a type of museum, and I'd love to go there just to visit the place because that seems really cool. But at the same time, part of me is kind of dubious because if this paranormal stuff is real, then now I know. Don't get me wrong. Part of me is a skeptic with when it comes to the whole ghost thing because some paranormal videos you see online can potentially be faked, as you can imagine. But at the same time, if it turns out that there is supposedly paranormal activity at this place, that's gonna be a bit dubious.
And the figure's gender, but the sleeves and neck of the outfit seem to be frilly, almost like a medieval tunic, and spectators agreed that the figure was dressed as if it were straight out of the 16th century. The security guards weren't the only ones who think they have seen Skeletor. On that very same day, a visitor claims to have seen the figure as well. In fact, she was so startled that she wrote of the sighting in the palace's guest book. On the third day, the fire alarm went off one last time. The guards found nothing. Security footage shows the doors opening with no one behind them. The Hampton Court Palace was home to King Henry VIII, a royal figure famous for suspecting his wives of adultery and witchcraft and putting them to death. Could this ghostly sighting be a past wife of Henry's who could have never let go of her earthly ties? Or was it one of the other tens of thousands of people who died under the king's reign? No one knows for sure, and no one has ever seen Skeletor since. Number 6, Scared Shipless. The USS Hornet is an aircraft carrier that was active from World War II all the way to 1970. Although
Okay, when he's scared, when Shields has said scared shipless, I I'm glad she was put like the name on the screen with scared shipless. I'm glad he put the name. I'm glad he put that on the on her because for a moment it because if he hadn't have done that, I would have mistakenly thought he said scared shitless instead of scared shipless.
it has since been converted into a floating maritime museum, that's not enough to negate its dark and sinister past. The Hornet saw extraordinary heavy combat in World War II when the Japanese planes strafed them without mercy at the Midway Islands, bombing them with such an intensity that the crew had to load piping hot ammunition with their bare hands just to keep up with the frantic pace. Below deck, the USS Hornet ran on steam that made the control room over 125 degrees at times. More than one crewman died of heat stroke, or even died from fatal burns after a steam pipe would rupture and melt their skin. Conditions were so bad that suicides were not uncommon from the stress alone. All in all, it is estimated that 300 lives were lost aboard this vessel, and it is legendarily haunted as a result. In 2009, a Coast Guard unit was repainting the USS Hornet's interior. When their paint ran low, one of them ran to find a person who was in charge of distributing more. Alone now, he wandered into a side passage until he saw a fellow Coast Guard about 25 feet ahead. He called out to the man, but instead of turning around, the man completely ignored him and turned a corner. When the Coast Guardsman followed, he found the entrance chained off and the room completely empty. This is one of the many
Oh,
stories of the quote unquote dress white's ghost, a sailor who wears his bright white uniform with a vacant
yeah,
look.
I'll be creeped
Some
out
claim he
if
was
I
the
saw something
captain,
like that.
but his real identity and fate have never been discovered. On a different day around the same time as the first sighting, two tourists wandered into a section that was clearly off limits. While walking through the debris and abandoned rooms, they saw a uniformed officer walking towards them. They began to profusely apologize for trespassing, but the officer walked by them without making eye contact, instead turning into another room. When they followed him for directions, the room was empty. Number 5. Owner of a broken heart. Sonny Graham was a Georgia man who desperately needed a new heart. In 1995, he was finally scheduled to get one. The donor man was a 33-year-old man named Terry Cottill, who had shot himself to death. The heart transplant was successful,
Ooh,
and Graham was a new man, in more ways than one, some people would later add. It all started when something inside of Graham demanded to meet Cheryl Cottill, the widow of the donor who had saved his life. When they first met, there was something about Graham's personality that seemed oddly familiar to Cheryl. For example, one day, Graham suddenly developed a new craving for hot dogs and beer that never went away. Hot dogs and beer just so happened to be Terry Cottill's favorite combination. Although Graham was 65 and she was 38, it was as if the two had known each other forever. Their relationship blossomed, and by 2004 they were married. By that same year, however, the relationship seemed to be over already, and Graham did not take the breakup well. In response to getting a divorce, he shot himself in the head, just like Terry Cottill. Was this just a series of strange coincidences that led to two men with the same heart to kill themselves in the exact same way? Or was it Terry's heart, unable to stand losing the same woman twice, that compelled Graham to pull the trigger on that day? Number 4, The
shit.
Presence. Carissa Glenn, also known as Tish, was only 18 when she learned that a woman had hung herself in the same apartment building that she was moving into. Still, that did not stop the young girl from wanting to move away from her family and become fully independent. Tish had dreams of one day becoming a police officer, and she was already making a decent living as a bartender at the time. This was in the UK, where the legal drinking age is not 21. Upon moving
Oh yeah, I think the legal drinking age in the UK is actually 18. I think. Actually, no, because I live in the UK, but then again, I don't exactly go to pubs to drink. And even if I did go to a pub, I probably would have. I probably would have asked for like a Coca-Cola or something like that. I, I'm not the type of person who drinks alcohol, and it's mostly because my dad, who sadly passed away some years back, he had an alcohol problem, and sadly this led to his death. Um, I don't want to go into too much detail about it, but yeah, as you could probably guess, um, I I'm not really a massive fan of drinking alcohol. Uh, anyway, I got a sneaky feeling that this young lady probably has some paranormal experiences at the place that she was living at.
Moving into her new apartment, however, Tish, who her friends and family had described as bubbly and vivacious, appeared to change. Tish began regularly calling her mother to describe a strange quote unquote presence in her small apartment room, especially at night. She began having vivid dreams about the woman who had killed herself that left her scared and panicking. During the final week before tragedy struck, Tish called her mother no less than 3 separate times to complain of a dreadful feeling that would not go away no matter what she tried to do. Her family pleaded with her to return home, even saying that they would pay all of the costs just so long as she got out of her current living conditions, which were obviously driving her insane. Tish, however, refused to let her parents help. She felt that she could withstand the presence on her own. In the middle of the night, Tish got out of bed and went into her bathroom. She tied a pink scarf around the shower
No,
rail
no,
and
no, no,
roped it
no,
around her neck. Number
no,
3,
no.
confession.
Oh, please don't do that, people. Please don't do that. No, please, please. Promise me that if you get those thoughts, go and see a doctor. Please go see. Wait a minute. Be right back. I gotta go check something. Okay, I'm back again. Sorry about that. I had some food cooking in the oven. Anyway, now 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 uh, just be real for a moment. For anybody with thoughts of doing what the young lady did, please don't do that. Don't do that. There's there's people out there who can help you sort out your problems without you self harming or anything like that. Just please go and see like a doctor or therapist about that because you don't need to go as far as to harm yourself or worse. Please, please promise me that you would do that. Okay, just go and see a doctor and or therapist because there's no shame in doing that. There's no shame in doing that.
By possession. The brutal death of Teresita Basha rattled 1970s Chicago. The 47-year-old woman was found naked in her apartment, tied to a mattress, stabbed in the chest with a steak knife, which was still sticking out of her. Then whoever did this also set her on fire. Aside from missing jewelry, no motive was found. Teresita had no enemies, but many friends. One of them was a co-worker named Remy Chua. Remy was heartbroken over her friend's death, and one day told Teresita's spirit that she would be okay with her friend visiting and explaining what happened. Shortly thereafter, Remy began seeing a man's face wherever she went. She knew it was Teresita's murderer. The visions became more and more intense as they revealed more facts and information to her until she could finally channel her friend at will. When Remy claimed to be possessed by her friend, her husband and a medical doctor were so convinced that he made her tell the police. She filed a police report explaining that a man named Alan Showery had killed Teresita and stolen jewelry after entering her house to fix a television set. The police were most likely unaware that this lead was the result of a spiritual confession, or else they probably would have thrown it out. Still, when they went to speak with Alan Showery, They saw his wife and cousin both wearing Teresita's jewelry. This was enough to get Alan to confess to the grisly murder sometime later.
Well, it's a good thing they didn't tell the police that this was a result of a spirit possession, because because like, let's face it, the police ain't gonna do shit if they ain't gonna do shit if they about it. But to be fair, in the defense of the police, on this in their defense, you can't blame them for being skeptical if a potential lead came from a ghost, because if you think about it, they, like, as I mentioned earlier on in the video, uh, a lot of the time there's actually like a lot of fake paranormal stuff about, like there's loads of evidence on YouTube that people make fake paranormal videos, like poltergeist caught on camera and ghosts caught on camera, and heck, there's even lots of fake Bigfoot caught on camera videos as well, which show can't bet that is true. So on one hand, the police wouldn't bother investigating if they got a potential lead if it's from a ghost. But on the other hand, to be fair, for all they know, the paranormal, for all they know, um, the lady, the husband, and the doctor could have made it all up. Just for some, for just to seek attention or something from the police.
Well, there are many mysteries surrounding this case. One thing is for sure, if the paranormal world is real, then Teresita's spirit has been finally laid to rest. Number 2, The Devil Visits Germany. Anneliese Michel was a young German woman who inspired the film The Exorcism of Emily Rose. When Anneliese refused to go near a picture of Jesus, saw demonic faces everywhere, and began to smell like death, the local population was sure that she was possessed. As if that weren't enough, she would regularly rip off her clothing, do hundreds of squats at superhuman speeds, and eat spiders and coal. On one occasion, she crawled under a table and growled for 2 days straight, and on another she bit the head off of a dead bird. Exasperated, her family hired an exorcist to perform an ancient ritual from the year 1614, ancient Roman times. He repeated the rites 67 times over her body, sometimes for up to 4 hours at a time. The sessions were recorded for evidence. Anneliese would identify herself as different figures such as Biblical Cain, the evil Roman Emperor Nero, Hitler, and even Lucifer himself. Sometimes the evil figures would even argue with themselves, using her body as a mouthpiece. Unfortunately, the exorcism did not go as planned. Instead of getting the devil out of her body, by 1976, the young girl was dead at the age of 23. She weighed only 67 pounds and had apparently starved to death. Her parents say that she refused to eat in order to atone for the sins of others, but others believe that her body could not survive the hellish possession and perished. Her parents and the priest were all found guilty of negligent manslaughter and spent 6 months in prison. If this infamous case is to be believed, then this is the first time Satan's voice has ever been recorded.
Nope. We're skipping that doo-doo. Nope. Sorry, but I ain't listening to that. If you want to listen to that, hit the link in the description box down below. It'll take you to this original video on Chills, okay? I ain't listening to that. Hell no.
At the Cecil Hotel. What was going through Elisa Lamb's mind during her final hours on this earth is anyone's guess, and these days there are a lot of people guessing. She was staying at the Cecil Hotel when, on her third day there, elevator footage caught her engaging in what could be one of the creepiest paranormal encounters ever recorded. Elisa enters the elevator normally at first, only to begin nearly hitting every button on the left side. She quickly glances down the hall both ways as if she was being trailed by something, hugs the corner, and checks again. She steps in and out of the elevator multiple times in a daze as if she is having conversations with people who cannot be seen. While all of this happens, the elevator does not respond to her button presses, and the doors remain wide open. Even when she presses all of the buttons in a frantic hurry, the elevator still will not close. Only when Eliza wanders away do the doors open and close randomly. Eliza was found dead shortly after. Somehow she had gotten into a water tank located on the roof.
Yeah, I remember hearing about this. I think this was also in one of Shane Dawson's videos.
Even though the Cecil Hotel staff says there were no ways for her to get up there. The door to the roof is locked and protected by an alarm, they say. They also say that Eliza was moved to a different room after her roommates observed strange behavior and no longer felt safe around her. What do you think Eliza saw?
Well, I don't know what she saw, but probably enough to scare the doo-doo out of her. Uh, yeah, that Hackney Crown Court place. I've that as I mentioned at the start of the video, I that judging by the thumbnail that will be in the video and well, you know it was in the thumbnail. Uh, I would admit, part of me has thought about visiting the place, but it's mostly because it's more like a it has more like a history museum type vibe to it, and as I mentioned, I do enjoy going to a history museum because like there's a council museum here in Norwich, and I often go to that a lot, and I want to admit I do like going to history museums, and I have often thought about going to other history museums in the UK. Uh, uh, that Eliza Lamb one with the Cecil Hotel. Um, um, well, but uh, I think with the Eliza Lamb thing, she probably I don't even know how the heck she got to the roof of the hotel because I as Joe's mentioned in the video, the there was the the not only the door was locked, but it had like an alarm or something on it. Yeah, because I was found it confused. I actually found I always found it confusing because like Eliza now would need to know like the because I wasn't sure if there was like an electronic lock or something on the door, and she have to either have a key pass to unlock it or know the combination or something just to be able to open the door. And even if she did somehow figure out how to open the door without setting off the alarm, how the heck did she even get inside the that water tank? Plus, shouldn't there be like security cameras on like that part of the stairway leading up to the roof of the hotel? Uh, I don't know. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment down below, And once again, the link to the original video is in the description box down below, so you'll be able to go watch this video on Chill's YouTube channel. And until next time, goodbye for now.